Having goals gives focus and direction. Each of us can decide on some reachable goals, each day doing something to help us achieve them, doing something positive to uplift our lives, and in time the joy of success will satisfy our minds. Hi there, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Welcome to this edition of Jamaica Magazine. Coming up in our program, things farmers can do to mitigate against drought conditions. Plus, the Jamaica Fire Brigade is increasing awareness about fire prevention. Also on the pages, our top news stories of the week and more. Please stay with us.
No, son. A verb is an action word.
Parents need to become more involved in their children's education.
Parents are the first and in many cases the most important teachers.
Read with your children. Review their schoolwork. Visit their school.
Tapping and rapping and slapping, I said.
Nice! High five! Woo!
A good education will never decay.
The dry spell is yet to abate and is causing severe water shortage and loss, particularly to farmers. But there are things we can do to lessen the effects of the drought. To quicken your awareness and prepare for the difficulties, watch this.
We get most of our annual rainfall during the May to June and October to November months. Periods when water is in abundance. But at other times, agriculture faces seasonal but extensive drought.
It's terrible when you have drought, man. It's terrible.
Farmers like Mr. Campbell, who know the horror of drought, reach for solutions. And a good one is to store excess water from the rainy months for the dry season. Harvesting water requires some investment. These include putting in catchment tanks or ponds.
Right here we have a typical pond that is used to harness rainwater. It is dug using a backhoe or other machinery, and it is then lined with this plastic material that is called a pond liner, which then keeps the water in place and it holds it there until you're ready to use it for your irrigation purposes or whatever other purpose you may need.
In this model, rainwater collected from the roof of this greenhouse using a gutter is emptied into the pond, then pumped into an elevated tank, from where gravity feeds it to the plants in the greenhouse. Water harvesting for this South Manchester farmer is quite different.
It's like how I construct a little bobby here now. That catch me water go down in the tank. When the dry time, we have a lot of problem with the water system. So we have to construct the tank that you have the water we can serve it. That when the drought time come, you have the water. When the rainy season come, you full back up, you catch water.
Tyrone, who farms in a hilly area, collects the rainfall from the roof of his house into a tank built of stone and concrete. He then pipes the water into his field, where he irrigates using the drip system.
With a tank, you have limited water. So the drip system doesn't use the water all that hard. It doesn't distribute the water to the plant at a heavy rate. So using the drip in our area is one of the best methods, because it uses less water, but it's very effective. Based on the amount of water inside the tank, I can use gravity feed. But whenever it goes down lower, I use a pump system. But I have various means that I use. I can use the air tank, that you also use gravity from that as well. So I use both systems depending on the depth or the height of the water.
Agricultural experts will tell you the size of the water harvester you choose to put in will depend on your preference and budget. In the end, you'd surely be saving on the cost of water and meet the important objective of improved production by reducing the impact of drought.
There are times that you don't definitely have to use water because your nursery will be ready during the rain time, so you plant during that time. So you always try to have your things set up that time that you can have your nursery ready for the rainfall and all of that.
The dry mulching technique has been proved effective in managing drought risks. It's a kind of farming that helps retain soil water in the ground.
What you do, like after mulling out your crop and all of that, like for instance this sweet pepper now, after mulling it, you'll cut the grass. During the whole planting phase, you'll cut the grass and allow it to dry. After mulling, you'll go through and you'll pat down the land. That helps to hold the moisture inside of the land. And for me, I can say it works.
Farmers who plant crops with higher levels of tolerance to heat are better able to deal with heat-related constraints during drought. Research and breeding of drought-tolerant crops has therefore been an area of focus in the Ministry of Agriculture. Farmers being provided with drought-tolerant crops are able to build a resilient system that gives enhanced crop yields under high temperatures. This is where we have to leave you for now. Remember, disasters do happen. Be prepared. Until next time, take care.
As the country continues to experience the effects of the prevailing drought conditions, the Minister of Water, Land, Environment and Climate Change, Robert Pickersgill, will address the nation. Tune in for a national broadcast this Sunday evening, July 20, on this station. That's a national broadcast by the Minister of Water, Land, Environment and Climate Change, Robert Pickersgill, this Sunday, July 20, on this station.
It keeps our bodies working, our food nutritious, our living and working spaces clean, and our lives comfortable. Water, the most precious resource necessary for the sustenance of life on our planet. Don't waste it. Let's conserve on this critical commodity. In the house, invest in storage containers and buckets. Take quick showers instead of long baths, and invest in water-efficient shower heads, toilets and faucets. You may also want to consider one-pot meals and cooking methods that don't require much water. You could also wash fruits and vegetables in a bowl and reuse the water on your plants or grass. When cleaning dishes, fill both sinks and use one for washing and the other for rinsing. The leftover water can be used to wash off the concrete or asphalt in your yard. If you must wash your car at home, aim for once a fortnight and use a bucket to do the washing instead of running the hose. Don't delay. Start your water conservation practices today.
Burning fires outdoors is a dangerous act that we should all refrain from doing. And if we must, we should take utmost care to contain, control and monitor them. We now look at the burning issue of bushfires in this next feature.
According to the Jamaica Fire Brigade, fire is one of the most threatening hazards in our society. Several fires, especially bushfires, have caused extensive destruction and millions of dollars in losses to the country.
The impact on the economy has been major. We have, on average, we lose close to $300 million every year in terms of farm produce from fires.
According to the experts, most of the bushfires around the world, including Jamaica, were due to careless management of open flames. During the dry season, traditionally observed from January to April each year, bushfires spread more easily due to dry, windy conditions.
We have persons in Jamaica who from time to time in the farming communities will use slash and burn as one of the ways to clear land. And what you find sometimes is that they don't take enough care to actually put these fires out after they have started them. You also find in other situations where persons might be carelessly throwing fire about an area, like smokers, for example. They might light up and they drop the cigarette butt, or they sometimes drop the match that they use to light these fires as well.
Like their counterparts around the world, Jamaican firefighters are deeply concerned about the prevalence of bushfires.
It happens every year, starting suddenly and often without warning, leaving behind sorrow, disappointment and frustration for the victims. It has also caused extensive damage to Jamaica's landscape, raising trees that protect the soil and help to attract rainfall.
In the last 5 years, when we speak of major fires, we have to look at the farming communities in areas like St. Elizabeth, for example. We have major cane fires in areas like Westmoreland.
Think hard. Do you really have to burn? If you must, here are a few precautionary measures you can take to avoid the spread of bushfires.
Do not use fires to clear land, especially during the dry season. Never light a fire in an open area when it is windy, as sparks may blow about and cause the fire to spread. Smokers must ensure that cigarette butts, matches, and other lighted material are extinguished before leaving the point of disposal. Do not use gasoline or kerosene to start or revive your fire. Keep a shovel and some dirt nearby in case you may need to put out a fire quickly. And if you must burn, remember to construct a fire break.
A fire break is usually an area that you would clear of approximately 15 square feet. You clear that area of everything that can actually contribute to the spread of the fire. Then you wet that entire area. And then from that, you will have the fire being lit inside that protected zone. Your responsibility to us as citizens and firefighters is once you discover an outbreak of fire, however small, you call the Jamaica Fire Brigade. Our responsibility to you is that we'll respond to this fire as promptly as possible.
In doing their duty and asking you to do yours, firefighters are trying to avoid the destruction of valuable crops and plants, the reduction in soil fertility, and most importantly, the loss of human life or a range of health problems that can develop by just inhaling the smoke that rises from these fires.
Remember, when you start a fire, it doesn't matter how small or the type of fire, you cannot be sure where this fire will actually lead to. So we always tell persons, think twice before you burn. And if you have to burn, make sure you take all the necessary precautions to ensure that the fire is contained.
If you want to know more about preventing or reporting a fire, speak with someone at the Fire Prevention Unit of the Jamaica Fire Brigade. They're at 8 to 10 Ocean Boulevard in Kingston. The telephone number is 922-2523.
Prevention is the best remedy to avoid the devastating loss that can be caused by fires. The Jamaica Fire Brigade wants everyone to be safe, and through its fire prevention unit, communities and institutions are able to receive valuable knowledge that can save life and property. Let's find out more in this feature.
When your clothes is on fire, you do not run. So you stop where you are, you fall to the ground, and you roll.
Public education is a key component in fire prevention. It is a proactive method of reducing emergencies and the damage caused by them by ensuring that the public is fully aware of what to do in case of an emergency.
We recognize that fires start most of the time because people don't know about fires. People don't know what it takes to make a fire. People don't know what it takes to get rid of a fire. Without educating a person about the dangers of fire, then they would be totally lost, and we will continue to have devastating fires destroying life and property.
Look around for me. Make sure that everybody in the class is here.
I think you should give yourselves a clap. Right. That's how we want you to operate when there is a fire, all right?
Fire prevention officers go into communities, businesses, schools, churches, wherever they are granted access, and educate the public on fire safety practices. And through programs like Safety Monitor and Training, persons are taught to educate others about appropriate fire safety behavior.
We go into communities, we train what we call community safety wardens or fire wardens. So they would now look at the mispractices. We go into businesses, organize the staff, and we train persons to train the people in the workplace. They are also trained to a point where they can check for hazards to ensure that all the fire hazards that are visible can be reduced.
If it is that you require of us, or you ask of us to come into your home and show you what inside there can actually start a fire and how you can prevent that fire, we actually do that. And we promote as well what we call the good neighbor policy. So you ensure that your neighbor is not doing anything that will put your life in jeopardy from a fire, and you do the same as well for your neighbors.
What happens?
Fire prevention does not stop at public education. There is also engineering and enforcement. You could call it the triple E effect. Engineering and enforcement go hand in hand. It's at this stage that the Fire Prevention Division review building plans, inspect buildings, and assess for compliance.
We encourage you to come into us, submit your building plan. We are able to look at it to see how you're going to occupy the building, and then we would be able to recommend the type of devices that you would use to better protect your property and the lives that will occupy that building.
Fire prevention officers should be contacted to conduct fire safety inspection as soon as new buildings are erected or existing buildings are being renovated. There is no cost attached.
So you would write us a letter, and you can send it in to us by email. When we get that letter, we set a date with you. We come into your building and we look at everywhere. All of the occupied space, whether doors are locked off, technical room. We start from the roof all the way down to basement level if there is a basement, and we note everything in terms of what you have in the building, what you need to do, and then we would go back, make recommendations. So once you implement those recommendations, then you know that you are on the right track to have a safe building, a fire-safe building to occupy.
Once the inspection is complete and your building meets the required standard, you will receive a building occupancy certificate, also known as a fire certificate. The Fire Prevention Division also sees to the retrofitting of fire hydrants.
In 2007, we did a survey. That survey was a bit dismal, to be honest. It showed that we had just about 30% of all fire hydrants across the island working. We hired 2 teams of hydrant maintenance persons, and we placed one in the western section of the island and one in Kingston. In 2012, 5 years after, we did another survey, and that survey is showing us that we now have over 70% of the fire hydrants working. So that is really saying to us that the team that we have employed is actually going out there and doing the job that is required of them.
The fire brigade is on the job to ensure that you are safe in the event of a fire, but they can't go it alone. Your help is needed.
Don't cook and leave it unattended. Don't overload circuits. Don't introduce a whole lot of electrical equipment on systems that are not designed for that heavy load. Don't allow children that are not of the age of 12 and untaught to be fooling around with fire in general, and pretty much ensure that you have a plan in your home, in the building that you occupy. Ensure that the right equipment is there. Our message to the public is prevent, prevent, prevent.
Once a fire starts, you need to call us. It is better for us to get on the scene and realize that you have already dealt with it than for us to get on the scene late. Because nobody likes a situation like that when we get there late and there's nothing much that we can actually do.
For more information on the Jamaica Fire Brigade, visit their website, www.jfb.gov.jm, or call 922-2523 or 922-0007.
On the board this week, the Broadleaf Moravian Church in Manchester presents a grand fundraising gospel concert at 3:30 p.m. on Sunday, July 20 at the church. Proceeds in aid of the Campbell Book Scholarship. A fun-filled afternoon awaits you. The UTEC Students Union Department of Community Services presents Teach the Youth 2014 under the theme Seize Your Dream, Wake the Hero Within. The program will run from July 7 to 25 at a number of venues.
These are Tavern, Sandy Park, Kintyre, Augustown, and Highlight View in St. Andrew. For more information, contact the UTEC Student Union at 970-2222, extension 2286, or click on Community Service at utexstudentunion.com. The Kingston and St. Andrew Corporation will be staging its annual Downtown Summer Savings 2-day shopping extravaganza at the St. William Grant Park, downtown Kingston from July 25 to July 26. Come out from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. and get massive discounts from registered vendors on a wide range of products. The Ensom City Gospel Chaplain Association with Guardian Life Limited will be hosting a community health fair on Saturday, July 26 as part of their 40th anniversary celebrations at lot number 1 Eltham Farms, Gordon Penn, Spanish Town, St. Catherine. The fair will run between the hours of 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. on the church grounds and features free medicals for students entering high school, HIV testing, blood sugar and blood pressure testing, counseling and fun activities for the children, and much more. For further information, call 828-4847 or 392-5204. The Edwin Allen High School will be having their 50th anniversary banquet at the Jamaica Pegasus Hotel on Wednesday, July 30. Guest speaker will be empowerment coach, author, and past student Alvin Day. Starting time, 7 p.m. Send us your events for broadcast on the JIS Community Notice Board. Call 922-868-022 or send an email to cbishop@gis.gov.jm.
The clock is ticking as the countdown to the big staging of Festival 2014 continues. At 8 p.m., the Miss Jamaica Festival Queen Coronation Show will take place at the Ranny Williams Entertainment Center. Here are some other activities you can look forward to.
Mark these days on your calendar, July 26 and 27, because you're in for a music and art-filled weekend thanks to the Jamaica Cultural Development Commission, the JCDC. On Saturday, July 26, grab a seat at the Ranny Williams Entertainment Center in Kingston for the Jamaica Festival Song Competition Finals. Come see who will join the likes of Toots Hibbert, Desmond Decker, Roy Rayon, and Eric Donaldson as winner of the Jamaica Festival Song Competition. And be sure to clear your calendar for Sunday, July 27, as it will be fully booked. In the morning, the National Independence Thanksgiving service will be held at the Church of the Open Bible in Kingston. By mid-afternoon, the National Gallery of Jamaica on the Kingston waterfront should be your destination of choice as the gallery celebrates 40 years with a special showing. And at 7 o'clock, it's back to the Ranny Williams Entertainment Center for the Jamaica Gospel Song Competition National Finals. I'll be there to enjoy every minute of Jamaica Festival 2014. Will you?
Our top news stories of the week are next.
Hi there, I'm Simone Wolf with your JIS News of the Week. The Bank of Jamaica BOJ this week reported that Jamaica's current account deficit fell to $100.6 million in the January to March 2014 period, which means the country is importing less than it did in the corresponding period last year when the current account deficit was $400.6 million. Co-chairman of the Economic Program Oversight Committee, Richard Biles, said for this reason the group had supported the BOJ's recent decision to intervene in the foreign exchange market and slow the depreciation of the Jamaican dollar.
A major reason why we depreciated the exchange rate was to correct this very current account deficit. And to the extent we are having success with it, and it is improving rather quickly, then I think it gives support to the argument that we should be slowing the rate of devaluation of the Jamaican dollar.
Meanwhile, BOJ Governor Brian Winter told JIS's Ian Boyne that there would not be much further devaluation of the local currency, asserting that the central bank would continue to intervene in the trading market to ensure the Jamaican dollar was at its right value.
An adjustment has been necessary, and that adjustment was necessary to help to compensate for the fact that our inflation rate in Jamaica, prices here were rising faster by quite a lot than the prices in our trading partner countries. So an adjustment has been necessary to compensate for that.
The Agriculture Ministry began implementing a $30 million drought mitigation project for farmers across the island this week.
As we speak, we have sent out missives to every single area in Jamaica in terms of constituency to have the farmers, the JS, rather, work with their local representatives to put together a credible program of drought mitigation.
The Water Minister Robert Pickersgill is expected to address the nation on the country's water woes in a special broadcast this Sunday. The Ministry of Health this week assured the public that there was no indication of a local spread of the chikungunya virus, even as the country confirmed its first imported case. Chief Medical Officer Dr. Kevin Harvey said the ministry received a report from the Caribbean Public Health Agency Thursday morning, confirming that the sample sent on Tuesday from an individual who recently traveled from an infected country was positive for the chikungunya virus. Dr. Kevin Harvey said the health ministry, which had been in preparation mode for more than 2 years, was heightening its response to ensure there was no local spread. There is no specific treatment or vaccine for the chikungunya virus, which is spread by the Aedes aegypti mosquito that also transmits dengue fever. So persons are urged to protect themselves by destroying mosquito breeding sites in their environs and taking steps to avoid mosquito bites when traveling to and from countries with confirmed cases. Anyone who experiences any of the associated symptoms is asked to visit their doctor or the nearest health center immediately. National Security Minister Peter Bunting this week announced that year-to-date murders, shootings, rape, aggravated assaults and robbery cases in Jamaica had decreased compared to the same period in 2013. He said police fatal shootings also declined by 46%. The National Security Minister also informed Parliament that the Police Services Commission, the PSC, was expected to appoint a new Commissioner of Police by September. He said the PSC was to advertise the position this week and applications would be reviewed and shortlisted candidates interviewed in August. While making it clear that the PSC was in charge of the appointment, Minister Bunting also responded to queries on whether the new commissioner would come from overseas.
It would, to my mind, be some extraordinary circumstance why you would look to put a foreigner in such a sensitive position when their first loyalty would not be to your country.
Deputy Commissioner of Police Glenmore Hines has been acting as police commissioner since July 1, following Owen Ellington's decision to retire after completing his vacation leave. And finally, the Governor-General and Prime Minister this week led tributes to former Governor-General Sir Howard Cook, who died on Friday, July 11 at age 98. Current Governor-General Sir Patrick Allen hailed Sir Howard as an exemplary servant leader whose life was worthy of emulation and said the nation owed a debt of gratitude to the man affectionately known as Teacher. Prime Minister Portia Simpson Miller similarly reflected that Sir Howard had served the nation with the utmost distinction, passion and selflessness, calling him an illustrious son of the nation and a gentle soul. During Tuesday's sitting of the House of Representatives, it was announced that senators and members of Parliament would pay tribute to Sir Howard in a special sitting of Parliament planned for Wednesday, July 23 at 10 a.m.
And it should be noted that it will be a sitting of the Senate to which the members of this House will be invited. Sir Howard having served last in the capacity as President of the Senate.
Sir Howard Cook, who became Jamaica's fourth Governor-General in August 1991, demitted office in February 2006. He served as a cabinet minister, senator, and member of the House of Representatives and gave 23 years in the classroom. And those were some of the stories making news this week. I'm Simone Wolf.
We're now at the close of Jamaica Magazine for today. Thank you so much for watching. It was good sharing this half hour with you. So join us again tomorrow for more. Tell us what you thought of the show. Send an email to jamaicamagazine@jis.gov.jm or hit us up on Twitter @JISNews. And our website, jis.gov.jm, remains a constant portal for the very latest government information. On behalf of the entire team here at the JIS, I'm Adrian Atkinson. All good.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.